Welcome to TradersArmy.com, defending your right to build wealth and preserve capital for generations to come. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I'm your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Hope you all had an absolutely amazing Tuesday, as we're going to do what we do each and every day, looking at the same 10 to 12 futures markets from an educational perspective, identifying potential breakouts and reversals that we can learn from, experience from, and get some practice. Real quick announcement for those of you that are new to the channel. Do me a favor, click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get the alerts. If you're not new to the channel, do me a favor, hit the like button. It really means a lot. I really hope you take the half a second it takes to do it, because the computers like it. All right, let's dive in. S&P this morning. We are up big this morning, up 24 points, and actually came right to our 15-minute level in the overnight. Now, remember our rules on 6 candlesticks, right? So price came in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After 6 candlesticks, we really had gone nowhere. Right, so the rule says that we take our level, our stop, we move it down to break even. Now this occurred later in the evening, so you may or may not have been in front of your computer when that was making that entry point. But it definitely was designed to be a break even setup. But we finally got a little bit of a move higher in the S&P. Now the Nasdaq, we actually came to our hourly level, and the hourly level on the Nasdaq, for those of you that were in our live trade room on Sunday, we talked about the fact that this is stronger than the other 2 levels that we had looked at. So we are getting a little reversal out of this zone. I'm a little bit concerned with these lower wicks coming into the area. Technically, I wouldn't consider them basing, but they are indications of selling pressure, right? And so with those indications of selling pressure, if you did get into this Nasdaq position, take your stop, move it down to break even. You've locked in, you've probably got about 20 points worth of profit at the moment. You could just take that off the table if you so choose, but I would at least take your stop and move it to break even at this point, so that you are indeed protected. Now, if it does continue to fall, taking a look, I kind of like this area down in here for a potential reversal off of what we're doing. Formed it around midnight, which is typically a pretty good time of the day for a decent reversal point. In crude oil, we are still below our potential breakout level. We definitely fell yesterday through this little area in here. Prices are rallying. Looking at the 4-hour, my 4-hour is still very much entrenched in a fairly sideways price action. However, I think that we could get another reversal back to the downside off of kind of where we are right now. So I'm a little interested in where we are right now, because I think we could break out one way or the other in here, and I'm okay with either breakout direction. I think that the downside breakout actually gives you more longer term potential. The upside breakout, I think, has limited running power, but I think you could look at this as a potential breakout one way or the other. Stop would have to be outside of the pivot. So this is I typically don't do these kind of breakout trades, but I think you're in a fairly okay spot to give these a go, either the long or the short, depending on your bias. Theoretically, you could set up both and have it set as an OCO. In the gold levels, so gold, we had a little bit of a level right in here yesterday. Now, we did get basing in front of the level, less than 2 to 1, or right at about 2 to 1, which would have reduced the probability of that zone. Remember, that was found on a 15-minute chart from yesterday. And so we popped up through that particular area with this little bit of basing here in front. So now we're actually starting to come down just a little bit, combined with the S&P's move to the upside. Where do I have any sort of movement? Well, I think we may get a little bit of another leg down in here, but I think that with all the sideways price action, I think the better trade is probably just to leave it be and not try to figure out what it's going to do. Next, looking at our bonds and currency markets. So in the ZN, now the ZN, we had a potential for a breakout, knowing that we needed a third touch. Well, this is certainly not going to count as basing before the level, right? We do basing before the level. It needs to be close to the level. This was just one big green candlestick shooting straight up, and so certainly unable to hold anything at that point. So now as we see price beginning to fall, we would look for an area for a potential reversal. I actually think the better thing to do here is to not take anything and just to wait on this. In the Aussie has gotten a humongous rally. Looking at our 4-hour chart, we actually have put in a slightly higher high. So big rally up has happened here in the Aussie, giving me hope that we could get an entry to the upside if we get a little bit of a pullback. The thing is, we haven't gotten really any pullbacks to speak of. I think it's okay to look at this level here if we do indeed get a bit of a pullback. This area right in here for a potential reversal, formed around a good time of the day specifically for the Aussie. Euro level, we are rallying up to what could become potential supply. Remember that we anticipate speed candles getting retraced. We are rallying off of the daily demand level. That's really what we've done, is we've hit the daily demand level and are rallying off of that. So let's see up there if we get a bit of a reversal on this hourly level. Remember, I can't have too much basing, no basing inside of here. If I get basing inside of here, that's going to negate the quality of that zone. I need to get that strong arrival minus that basing coming into it. But this is certainly the retracement back to a speed candle. Canadian dollar, we had our breakdown on the Canadian dollar, got a little bit of a run from it, and then it popped right back up. So if you were able to catch that Canadian breakdown, it paid you about a 2-to-1, maybe a 2.5-to-1 reward to risk. Interestingly enough, though, now we're kind of putting in this inverted head and shoulders pattern. I don't know if anybody can see this inverted head and shoulders pattern that we have through here. So with that inverted head and shoulders pattern, and we've got our slanting lines here, you may get a breakout to the upside on this. So keep an eye out for a potential upside breakout with a target somewhere up here. Okay. And then let's take a look at the pound and the yen here right quick. So the Great British Pound, we are just flying to the upside. So pretty much all of our Great British Pound levels that we had set up as supply levels, the market basically said, not interested. So I need to remove all of those levels, as it is absolutely blown right through them. And so when things do a shift in direction like that, you're gonna take a little bit of heat, right? And so that's kind of what we see here. Now, my anticipation last week was that we would see a rally in the pound, and we didn't. It just took a little bit, about a week longer. And I think this is, a news-driven rally as we're seeing this thing move up. Could be a little bit more dangerous to play as we head into Brexit, but our weekly trend still very much to the downside. Daily trend still very much to the downside, although at long lower wick gives you a little bit of hope. Long lower wick combined with yesterday's big green expanded range candle, we're starting to get a little bit more price shock on the daily charts. Price shock being expanded range candles of the opposite color to the predominant trend. So if the predominant trend is down and I start to get green expanded range candles, that's called price shock. So that is something interesting that I find as we are dropping down in. That tells me that buyers are maybe seeing value at some of these lower levels and they're piling on. Japanese yen stayed very far away from any of our levels yesterday. Potentially could have an area for a reversal right here if we pop up just a little bit. So keep an eye on this zone today. So nice little rally going in this morning. If you've got any questions or comments that you'd like to see or have us talk about on the DMC, please make sure that you let us know. If you took that NQ short, you're smiling, doing okay at the moment. So like I said, lock in some of those profits. Other than that, I hope you guys all have an amazing day. We will see you all real soon. Later.